9. I was treated. It wasn't entirely by chance that Aresh Indrak happened to be there. Aresh had been born with an enormous reserve of mana. On top of that, he was dexterous and exceptionally skilled at controlling it. His affinity pentagram, 5 out of the 6 elemental attributes, was rare. Most magic he mastered quickly, and with his vast mana reserves, he had never really worried about running out. Still, after joining the 3rd Magic Knight Order, his overly cautious steward insisted he carry mana recovery potions at all times. Though Aresh believed he would never exhaust his mana, the steward had served him since childhood. So he obediently began visiting the apothecary the steward recommended and procuring the potions himself. Mana didn't simply recover by sleeping. As his steward had predicted, the potions proved unexpectedly useful, especially during the recent saint summoning. Aresh had been forced to supply a massive amount of mana alongside the court mages. For the first time in a long while, he had completely drained himself, and even now, he hadn't fully recovered. There were no immediate expedition plans, so he was focusing on rest and gradual recovery through medicine. The apothecary was a small shop in town, known for its skilled pharmacist. Once word spread that Aresh frequented it, the knights began placing orders as well, and the shop had grown busy enough to hire help. "Oh my Lord Aresh. Welcome. The usual." "Yes. 3 bottles." Mana recovery potions were difficult to preserve, so he couldn't buy them in bulk. He stopped by whenever he was in town. "Oh, by the way, someone from the Knights came earlier today. You must all be busy. He bought a whole bunch of tonics." From the Knights. Aresh didn't usually concern himself with logistics, but if he recalled correctly, supplies were picked up twice a month by 2 lower-ranking knights. And yesterday, the stock had seemed sufficient. You know, that civil official with the awful dark circles and glasses, the one you bumped into before. He was wearing a mantle with rank insignia. Said he'd just been promoted. Even officials with rank run errands, huh? There was only one man that description fit. Promotion or not, Aresh hadn't known. But it must be the other man summoned alongside the saint. The saint summoning itself left a bitter taste. Aresh had been forced into the secret ritual with little explanation. And the summoned saint, she defied common sense. Aresh, accustomed to women's admiration due to his appearance and noble lineage, was used to subtle, restrained approaches. But the saint, perhaps because she was from another world, ignored social rank entirely, treating him familiarly. Did she believe the saint's position outranked all others? Her role was to purify the miasma. Yet she understood neither mana nor this world's customs. Several tutors had been assigned to her. And yet, she had audaciously requested that Aresh himself serve as her mana instructor. Since when did a student choose her teacher? He was a knight, not a mage. He had refused at first, citing busyness. But pressure from above forced him to accept 2 one-hour sessions per week. Even then, she diverted lessons, asking him about the country instead of practicing mana control, despite the crown prince practically living at her side. As for the miasma of the demonic forest, perhaps it felt distant to someone from another world. Compared to her, however, the other summoned individual was just as strange. The kingdom had clearly not known what to do with the man dragged along with the saint. They had intended to house and feed him quietly for life. Yet the very next day, the man had appeared in court uniform. When Aresh addressed him, the man's dull eyes looked at him as though he were an inanimate object. From what he gathered, the man, Kondu apparently, had voluntarily requested to work despite being granted enough money to live comfortably without lifting a finger. Aresh couldn't understand it. He was a genius. Everything came easily to him: talent, mana, success. Whether he desired it or not, roles were forced upon him, and he fulfilled them without difficulty. To Aresh, each day was simply something to be processed. The shopkeeper had almost certainly seen Kondu. Tonics, perhaps for accounting? The thought nagged at him slightly. As he stepped outside, Aresh's sharpened senses caught an unusual sound. The shattering of glass. A low groan. Ordinarily, he would have ignored it. But this was a quiet side street, and an inexplicable unease tugged at him. Turning the corner, he spotted the shadow of a man crouched in the alley, draped in a brown official mantle. "What are you doing?" The man's shoulder twitched, but he couldn't lift his head. Troublesome, Aresh thought. But the man wore palace uniform, not a vagrant. "Hey, are you conscious?" He knelt beside him. The face that looked up was the same one he'd just recalled, sunken eyes, dark circles. "You, Kondu," but far paler than before. His unfocused eyes trembled. His body shook violently. Broken potion bottles lay scattered. Aresh clicked his tongue. Poisoning. There were many types of potions. Tonics and recovery medicines, which stimulated cellular activity, could cause acute intoxication if overconsumed. But this reaction was severe and rapid. He should take him to a physician. But he might not last that long. Keeping a hand against Khanda's back, Aresh began chanting. Heat flowed from his palm, seeping into Khanda's body, hotter than human warmth. Light, wood, and water attributes combined. Life magic, also called healing magic. Rare and difficult. Most who mastered it became clergy, and it was often known as holy magic. Aresh, a once-in-a-generation prodigy, could wield all attributes except earth, and was skilled in composite spells. Hey, can you answer? Khanda's breathing gradually steadied. The trembling subsided. Ah! His face lifted slowly. The dark circles remained, but the ghastly pallor was gone. Color had returned to his cheeks. His once dull black eyes were now clear, moist even. Strange. Too much color. His breathing, which had calmed, grew ragged again. The dull gaze was gone, replaced by something glazed. Feverish. What hot? Mana intoxication. Aresh's voice rose, a rare display of shock. Mana intoxication occurred rarely in small children who lacked tolerance. When given mana, their bodies could not assimilate it. In this world, most people were exposed to magic from infancy. Only newborns were susceptible, and caution was taken when casting spells on them. Why would? Because he's from another world. Khanda had never been exposed to mana. And now, in his weakened state, he had been infused with Aresh's high-level magic. Mana was burning through him like fever. Damn it, what a nuisance. Khanda's breathing grew more erratic in Aresh's arms. His body burned hot. His consciousness drifted. Hot. He clutched Aresh's arm tightly. TCH. There was only one treatment. The one who gave the mana had to help the body assimilate it. With infants, gentle stroking was enough. But this was an adult male with zero tolerance, and Aresh's spell had been powerful. If he didn't act quickly, it could become fatal. Cursing under his breath, Aresh lifted Khandu into his arms. Nothing good ever comes from getting involved with people from another world. Don't resent me later. And with that, he headed toward an inn on the outskirts of town.